Yo, what's up? Yo, what's good? Hope everybody is doing excellent today. Having an excellent day. That's the whole point, right? To be having a great day daily. But today, I want to touch on a couple points. And the topic for today is human interactions. As us being human, one of our greatest ways of communicating is interacting. Our only ways of communicating is interacting with the next human. Interacting with another human being that's totally different than us, because nobody is the same. But what everybody does have? Everybody has a vehicle, which is their body. A vehicle. And the vehicle can't drive without a driver. So everybody is driving their own vehicle, driving their own body. And our main objective as humans on the planet is to interact with the other drivers through our vehicles. Because if we're not interacting with the other vehicles, we're only interacting with ourselves. So we, as humans, we need and we loathe for human interaction. No matter where that may come from, we need to interact as humans. It's totally unhealthy for us if we don't interact with something. And more than likely, that's going to be a human. A lot of people have pets, maybe a pet dog that they interact with. But the dog can't really talk back and tell you how it feels about anything half of the time. To you, the dog is a pet, but to the dog, you are its master. When you leave and go out the house, depending on what type of dog it is, the dog is sitting there waiting at the door until you get back. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't know where you went. It's just waiting at the door, waiting on you to get back. But the thing about human interactions, we're going to always get something different, no matter who it is. Even if it's the same person, we're always going to get a different interaction from that person. Now, what we do is we take past events or past encounters that we've had with individuals, and we make assumptions on how future interactions may go. But nobody can tell the future. So what we try to do is, let's just say we got this one friend that we party with all the time. So every time we see this friend, we're going to be expecting a party. We're not going to be expecting anything else other than a party every time we link up with these individuals. But one thing is known is that every time we meet up with an individual, it's going to be a different experience every time. We really don't know what to expect. So that's why I try myself not to have or hold any expectations for anything, because I never know what the future is going to bring in any scenario. Also, what we do is when our interactions, we kind of soak up the environment of the other person. No matter who we around or who we hang out with or interact with, you'll notice if you hang out with somebody long enough, you'll begin to act like them. Whether that's a good way or a bad way. No matter who you're hanging around or hanging out with, you would start to take each other's actions or personalities. You would start to copy each other's personalities with no knowledge of it at all. But you got to understand when you're doing that, you got to realize, oh, this is not even something that I do. This is what so-and-so does. I'll give you an example. If you're in a relationship with someone, you start to notice that you either start doing some of the things that the other person is doing, or you start acting like the other person acts. If you haven't noticed that, you soon will, if you start paying attention to stuff. But human interactions have definitely changed as time has grown. You know, I can think about earlier civilizations and with, you know, how they interacted with each other, what they usually did. Hey, it's in the trunk. It's in the trunk. Okay. And what they usually did. But you think back, earlier civilizations, most of them had tribes. Earlier civilizations had tribes. And these tribes, they stuck together. They were separated but connected at all times, which is a true statement. But now, you know, over time, I'm going to jump from the past all the way to the future. Bye, Ma.
Bye-bye. Say hello.
Hey, who is it?
This Sister Richardson.
Hey, Sister Richardson, how you doing?
Gary said hello, Sister Richardson.
Yeah, all right, I see you. I'm doing good. I see you later, sister. But anyway.
She said take care, Gary.
Tell her to take care also. But anyway, I'm going to jump to the future on how I feel about things. And as far as our human interactions have changed from tribes to now, we got neighborhoods. Is that a big ass snake? All right, a snake. Now we got neighborhoods. And I was sitting outside yesterday, you know, working on my chakras, Kundalini and all of that, you know, meditating basically. And I was sitting out in the driveway, and I noticed one thing about my neighborhood is that I stayed in my neighborhood for 25 years, not counting the years that I left. And I don't know any of my neighbors. I know a couple, maybe like 3, in a full neighborhood of about 100 houses. And I don't know any of my neighbors, none of them. We don't interact at all. We're all locked up in our houses. We don't have tribal meetings where we come around the campfire and talk to the Master Chief or whoever it may be. We just don't do that anymore. That's not urban society. And I was sitting there thinking like, wow, this is a crazy observation. Human interactions have grown and changed into something very distant. And I think it all started, you know, before we start forming all of these, you know, which is a side note, before we start forming all of these governments and constitutions, we were more connected as a people. I mean, everybody was. Everybody had their own culture, their own tribe. Now, everything is all the cultures are commingling together, but nobody is connecting. Because we have the access to the internet to put our culture out there, but we don't have to talk to the people who's putting it out there. But I'm just starting to understand that us as humans, we like to be in control. We like to control stuff. It don't matter what it is. We like to be in control of everything. We like to be in control of the next human being. We like to control people. We like to control our pets. We like to control our sons and daughters, our siblings, our parents. Everybody wants to be in control. But I'm understanding that we have to first be in control of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I can give you an example of control. And for this example, I'll just use the United States, for instance. Okay? So, take the United States. Before it was the United States, it was a piece of land that looked exactly like the United States. You got to understand, the United States is nothing but a name that somebody put on a piece of land. This piece of land doesn't actually have a name. Only constitutional has it been given a name. So before, whatever colonists or whoever settled in Jamestown and did whatever they did, this was just a piece of land where people came and did whatever. But you know, somebody came over here just like they do everywhere else, and they wanted to control the land and control the people. Now, this is considered the freest country on the world. The freest country here, where you got the freedom to speech, freedom of press, freedom, you know, whatever, right to bear arms, carry your guns, whatever you want. But you got to understand that the Constitution is nothing but a means of control. To control the people with a list of things that they can and cannot do. But that's just an example and a discussion for another day. That's just something that I wanted to touch on, just for a thought process. But human interactions, man, is one of the most interesting things ever. I mean, one of the most interesting things I can understand, because anytime I interact with anybody, it's going to be different. I can interact without interacting with someone. Like, I was in the grocery store one time and I had a couple items, maybe like 2 or 3 items, and I felt like it was one of those towns where I was treated differently just because I'm a little darker, which is retarded. But actually, it was this white man, and he had a mixed grandchild. And the line was super short, but the people kept walking by and they saw me in the line and they went to the longest line in the store. And I could not understand that. My brain could not wrap my head around, well, this line is shorter. Why would they go to the longest line? But, you know, as I walked up to purchase my items, I was right behind this guy and his grandchild. He was like, I'll pay for his stuff too. And I was like, wow, why would he do that? What made him want to pay for my items? I didn't even say anything to the guy. I had my headphones on listening to Alan Watts, I think. But something touched this man to buy my items. Maybe he realized the same thing I realized. Maybe I interacted with him without interacting. You know, so human interactions are something that are amazing. And you will find out that when you interact with individuals, you're able to get different perspective on things that you didn't even know were possible. Because you shouldn't lean on your own understanding. Don't lean on your own understanding, meaning that you can get understanding from other people. Because you don't know everything. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Because anything known is just something taught. and you are taught something by learning it from somewhere else. So I feel like this is a pretty good start on human interactions. Maybe I'll post another video later on, because I feel like this topic is something that we can talk about for a while. But for the moment, I'll go ahead and end this convo, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.